Did you ever watch that old movie Train Spotting? Um, there's a scene in it where one of his mates is talking to him and he says to him like, "She had a penis," or something along that line. And Ewan McGregor says to him, "It could have been wonderful." Yeah, I think about that. I think about back to that line all the time, and I'm like, yeah, it could have been. And I go through these periods where like I meet someone and I'm there's this mutual attraction going on, right? And I'm like, geez, this person's like flirting with me and giving me signals and stuff like that, and I'm like, I'm usually like I like them too. Is usually how this goes. It's usually I find them very attractive, or I find their personality very attractive. Um, and I feel like if there wasn't the stigma there about dating somebody like me, then yeah, it might be wonderful. But there's this barrier, and it never seems to get past that. It's always like there's a stigma, and maybe it's very similar to like an era in history where interracial dating between whites and blacks was not acceptable. It was it's your life, you do what you want. Back in the '70s, but it was really frowned upon. Even by like your friends or something, right? Um, and so, getting on to enlightenment, I am so sick. I'm so utterly sick of hearing people say things like, "There's no enlightenment." I don't know my own enlightenment, or there's no observer, right? But just on and on and on and on and on like this, right? And it's a lot of the time, or you are the universe. A lot of the time, these dogmatic Zen slogan type things are to make money, right? To engage people and make money. It's not there to like ignite a spark in them and have them make their potential to become kinetic or something like that, right? It's not like a Gongan or Huato or you know a Chan talk with a Dharma master or something like that. It's literally just there to just like engage people and make money and confuse them. You know, keep them down, right? I, it is so frustrating. It is so utterly frustrating. I get so tired of hearing these tricky Zen type, like koan type deals that like, don't do anybody any good. Just literally confuses the person. Convinces the person you are the entire universe, right? Or there is no you, right? Who the hell is going to run away and join a cult that tells them that there's no you? Not you. That's for sure. Idiotic, right? And if you start doing things like telling a person there's no you, where is this you that you're talking about, right? Then why not cut off your arm, right? Why not follow the ancient patriarchs like Huike and cut off your arm? Make sure that the snow turns red. Don't cut off your arm. Don't think that there's no you, right? But the issue is, but these people too are like making money. They're making money and they're mucking with people's heads. Whether their intentions are good or not, I don't know. But they're making money and they're mucking with people's heads and they're confusing people because they're not being straightforward about it. All you need to do is just be straightforward about it. Talking about something like enlightenment, doing meditation is enlightenment, right? Just choosing to just sit, You don't need to do anything special. You just need to just sit there. That's it. Right? Just sit there and do what comes naturally. Is working on your posture what comes naturally? Do that. It probably will be like that. And then you might listen to somebody else, and somebody else might say, "Oh, I like to feel like I'm pushing the ceiling up with the crown of my head." Give that a shot. Maybe that works for you. Maybe arching your back a little bit works for you. Do what works, right? It's so frustrating. It's so incredibly frustrating. We're saying that you don't seek it. You don't want to go about looking for it. Then you'll never find it, right? Then you'll never get off the couch and go do enlightenment like sitting in meditation, right? And then you hear other tricky things like I sometimes wonder why some teachers are given transmission when they haven't experienced enlightenment. Not that they don't know enlightenment, they haven't experienced enlightenment, right? And so they do things, and then you hear people say things like, well, getting up and going to the bathroom when you need to is enlightenment. That's a dumb argument, right? That's a dumb argument. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about taking a bowel movement when you have to take a bowel movement, right? So discouraging. So incredibly discouraging to me. It takes a certain type of person to be able to explain, Buddhism philosophy a lot of the time. Enlightenment is not something that you want to. Enlightenment is something that you want to seek by not seeking it, right? It's something you want to attain, but it's not. An attainment and attainment, right? It's really you need to. If you're interested in Buddhism, I agree that if you're not interested, nothing will ever happen, right? If you're not interested in doing the practice, nothing's ever going to happen, right? That's because you need to seek it. If you're interested in the practice, you need to seek the practice, right? If you're interested in enlightenment, you need to seek enlightenment, right? It's not going to come to you like takeout. You need to seek it. Even takeout, you need to seek, right? How do you do that? By sitting here and not seeking anything. In the Japanese Renzai tradition, they'll do things like they'll put a mat there, and I think it was early on in the Lindsay tradition too, and even actually back in the old Theravada tradition. The old Theravada tradition, they would take on a novice, and they'd say, "Yeah, okay, you want to become a bhikkhu? We'll give you a grass hut to live in." There you go. Or in the Mahayana, Rinzai, Lindsay tradition, they'll do things like they'll set them on a mat. So you do your week-long, meditation period on a mat, and you won't leave. They'll bring you everything you need. You need food? Here's food, right? Maybe you leave to go to the bathroom, but ultimately you just stay on this mat. You sit up in meditation. When it's time to go to sleep, you go to sleep. You get up, you go back to meditation. When it's time to eat, you eat. When it's time for a lecture to happen, then a lecture happens. Then you go back to sitting, right? But ultimately, you don't go off that mat. There's an old cliche Zen story of this monk who goes around searching and searching and searching for enlightenment here and there, different temples, different teachers, and stuff like that. And eventually he realizes that it's not something that he has to go off and seek, because it's here. Zen is a very multi-purpose type word, but ultimately Zen is Chan. Chan is Chan no, is similar to like Dhyana, Prajna, Jhana, Ziyin, right? Emptiness. In emptiness, if you're sitting in prajna, right? You're sitting in meditation and you get this blissful feeling come over you, and there's no thought, and the pain of the legs has diminished, and the sound of the clock has diminished, and the traffic outside has subsided into almost nothing, then where is this you? Right? What is it that you are seeking? You're not seeking anything. You're not contemplating anything. You're not contemplating, what you are going to have for dinner, or what you are going to do tomorrow, or how you are going to pass this exam, or something, or something, or something. You are just existing, right? Without all of this cognitive discrimination going on in you. And so, let's say you experience the absolute or something like that, right? Of what value is it if you don't do anything with it? That's enlightenment.